Alright guys, so we're going to finish up our factoring chart here, and we're going to finish talking about if we have a trinomial, so if we have three terms, okay? Now, in this example over here, we've already looked at when we could either take out a greatest common factor and make that coefficient 1, or it was already a 1. But in this case, we're going to look at this one and we're going to say, okay, is there a greatest common factor that I could take out of 30, 27, and 6? And there is. It is actually the number 3. So if we take out that 3, that's going to leave us with 10x squared minus 9x plus 2. Okay? Now remember, this 3 that we have here, just like the 2 we had over here, we've got to carry it down. So we can't forget about that when we go back to write our answer. Okay? All right, so let's see what we can come up with here. So we're going to draw our box, and inside that box in the top left, we're going to put the first term, 10x squared. In the bottom of our box, we're going to put the last term, which is 2. And again, remember, we are now factoring what's inside the parentheses, okay, that we factored out that 3 from. All right, so we got to figure out 2 times 10 gives me 20, so I'm multiplying two numbers to give me 20 and combining to give me negative 9. Now, if this number up here is positive and this number down here is negative, that means that both of my signs need to be negative, because when I multiply two negatives, I get a positive, and when I combine two negatives, it stays a negative. So that would be negative 5 and negative 4. Okay, negative 5 times negative 4 is 20, and negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9. Again, it does not matter where I put those over here. So I'm going to put negative 5x and negative 4x. We look across the top row. What is our greatest common factor across the top? Well, it's 5x. And then we make the box work. 5x times what is 10x squared? Well, that's 2x. 5x times what is negative 5x? That's a negative 1. 2x times what is negative 4x? That would be a negative 2. And then check, is negative 2 times negative 1 a positive 2? It is, so that means it worked. What we did worked out. So this outside of the box is what this blue part here factors to. Now don't forget, we got to keep that 3. So 3, and then we're going to put 5x minus 2 times 2x minus 1. I will mention that it does not matter if I put 3 times the 2x minus 1 first and then the 5x minus 2. That's not going to make any difference, okay? All right, so we've talked about that you first ask if you have a GCF. So we ask if there's a GCF, then we look to see if it's 2 terms or if it's 3 terms. And in this case, we use the box. We use the box for most of our things. Now we're going to look and say, hey, okay, what if I now have 4 terms? What if I have 4 terms over here? Okay? So what if we've got 4 terms? The first thing you do is you ask yourself, is there a GCF? So let's look at the example we have down here. Is there a GCF for these 4 terms? And we can see that there is not. There's not a number in every single place so that we could take out a number. There's not an A in every place, every term, and there's also not a B in every term. So there's not a greatest common factor that we can take out. But remember, we're going to use the box. We use the box for everything. The nice part about this one is we don't have to figure out what to put in the box. We already have all 4 terms that go inside of our box. So we're going to draw our box and we're going to put all these in. I usually start in the top left of my box with the first term, so 2a cubed, and then I just fill them in order as they come. Minus a squared b, then the 10a, and then last the negative 5b. Okay? All right. What is the greatest common factor across the top? Well, they don't both have a number, so I can't take out a number, but they do both have an a, and the smallest exponent on an a is a 2, so I can take out an a squared. So we're going to pull out an a squared, and then we're going to make the box work. A squared times what is 2a cubed? Well, that's 2a. A squared times what is negative a squared b? Well, that's negative b. 2a times what is 10a? That's 5. And then 5 times negative b gives me that negative 5b. So my answer here, again, is what is on the outside of the box. So our answer would be 2a minus b times a squared plus 5. And this would be our final answer for that. So, just as a recap, you first ask yourself, is there a greatest common factor? Take that out if there is. If there's not, that's okay. Then you look to see if you have 2, 3, or 4 terms. We're looking for 2, 3, or 4 terms. If it's 2 terms, check to see if you have a difference of squares so that you can factor it easily, okay? If it's not a difference of squares and you couldn't take out a greatest common factor, it may not be factorable, okay? You may not be able to do anything with it. If it's 3 terms, we're going to use the box and the big X so that we have to multiply A times C to come up with the top number, and then the middle term B is what you need to combine to get that. So remember, these 2 numbers you come up with, like we did down here on, say, the 20 and the -9, those 2 have to multiply to give me 20 and combine to give me that -9. If it's not 3 terms, then you go to 4 terms. See if it's 4 terms, okay? If it's 4 terms, all 4 go in the box, and you factor using that. All right, let me know if you have questions, guys. You got this.